Well, hello friends, Fujosevich here. Welcome back to some Hearthstone. As we have switched up our decks, we're now playing a little bit of a Jade Druid deck with the little Doomsayer tech to kind of help us against some of that early aggression, along with one Tar Creeper. We might have to switch that up to 2, to be honest. But I think the idea is this season we're going to be trying to avoid playing a Dragon Priest as much as we can. Not that there's anything wrong with it, and to be honest, I feel like I might want to go back to Dragon Priest, especially with the recent upcoming nerfs to Quest Rogue, which is very exciting for me, and something that I think will help the Dragon Priest deck overall quite a bit. Oh, Huffer's absolutely awful for us. Yeah, that's actually going to be really, really bad for us. How do we do this now? I guess we're just swiping this. We can't afford to ramp with the Jade Blossom. I would love to, but we just honestly can't afford. Now the issue is we're going to need to survive one turn, and then we'll probably Jade Blossom this coming turn, and we'll see what else we need to do. The issue with this matchup, I think, is unless we hit some of our early game, which we do have a little bit of. We have 2 Jade Idols. We have a little bit of ramp, which we kind of hit this game, to be fair. We did Wild Growth, and we do have an Innovate. And then the 2 Doomsayers stop early aggression, along with our 1 Tar Creeper is also a very good early game card for us, along with our Wrath. So I guess we've been a little bit unlucky. Wow, this is our opponent's really going wide with their board, as I think they probably should. Wow, with that anti-Murloc tech. So options. If we try and do something silly now, we're kind of in a horrible spot for stabilizing. Yeah, we're actually in an awful spot right now for trying to stabilize. So if we just Jade Blossom, we'll be at 7 next turn, which is awkward. But if we don't get to our Primordial Drake the following turn, we're probably dead if we aren't already dead at this point. We could Nourish, but again, that just goes 7-8, and then again, we're stuck with the Innervate. If we try and Innervate the Jade Behemoth now, which I think is what we're going to do, simply because we have no other real major option right now. The armor isn't really as important as getting us 1 extra point of health. Hopefully we don't see any adapts with Poisonous here, and that'll be really good for us. We're hoping that we dodge Houndmasters for buffs on these beasts. Honestly, there are a lot of things that we need to be dodging right now. And then the best thing in the world for us would be to top deck another Innervate to be able to pump out the Primordial Drake as soon as possible. That's kind of bad actually for us, because yeah, the 5 health survives. Well, and even this isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's bad, but our opponent now has had to trade in a lot of minions. Maybe giving us a chance? I think we're going to ramp here, and we'll get rid of the 2-1. Probably not dead on board, but we're pretty close, to be fair. Depending what comes down from our opponent, we could be in a little bit of trouble, or a lot of trouble, to be fair. If one of these cards is Savannah Highmane, we're in a lot of trouble. But, ooh, that's potentially scary. 4-2 is the scariest. And, okay, that saved 1 health, I guess. There is obviously a lot of damage on board that we get to clear off. We're going to save the Innervate for Auctioneer because we simply need to at this point. The Drake will obviously help us stabilize a little. That's nice. Ooh, Rat Pack is terrifying and I want to kill it. How do we do this? We do have the best deals anywhere. Doomsayer is too little too late. Do we want to be drawing now, or do we want to get something on board? I think we need something on board, to be honest. Another Primordial Drake is pretty good. What's the worst that happens? That gets buffed up? I think that's the worst that happens. So we'll go ahead and do this. If our Auctioneer is able to stick around, well, then we'll be able to do some Nourish shenanigans. We'll get to draw the rest of our deck, which will be nice. Obviously, we're taking 1 damage every turn no matter what from our opponent's hero power. That's just unfortunate. There's no other way to talk about that. That is a little unfortunate. But this is pretty good for us. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and draw first, so we get to draw a whole bunch of our deck here. Hey, there we got our Yogg. Not expecting that we'll really need it, to be honest. Oh, Feral Rage basically puts the game out of reach for our opponent, which is nice. And, yeah, we'll use Face to do that now, to maintain somewhat of a board, you know, some resemblance of a board. We're at 16 health, our opponent has no cards. This is basically, you know, this is a good representation of how this matchup works, I think, or how it will work. We were very, very close to losing until we were able to stabilize, and I really think that's how this matchup is going to play most of the times. It's going to be very reliant on us actually drawing any sort of our early game in order to fight off aggressive decks, and then if we do stabilize, we'll probably stabilize to the point of being able to just kind of have opponents quit like this. Okay, so we have found ourselves a Rogue, which I'm expecting this card to be Quest Rogue. It wasn't mulliganed. And if that's the case, well, you know, we're not really in good shape because we don't have any more extra ramp, but we will at least get the Jade Blossom action going. Oh my. Swashbuckler early, probably into getting bounced right now. Oh my. Okay, well then. Yeah, quick Shadow Step, that's always awful for us. And I'm expecting this card then to be held and not played, because otherwise that would be very good for us. So we're going to be kind of, you know, at the mercy of this Swashbuckler if it comes down again. And if not, well then that's a good thing. Oh. Well, that's just unfortunate for us. I think we'll ramp right now. 4 going into 5. We'll see what we top deck right now. There's nothing at 7, so this isn't necessarily going to be super great. Backstab's interesting. I mean, it's good to know that the back... Oh my. Okay. That's a really interesting... I might go Jade Behemoth into Jade Behemoth, simply because it answers our opponent's board so well, and it does build up our Jades, and does continue to put a lot of like pressure on board. So our opponent's going to kind of... Our opponent will have to be holding the bouncing cards in their hand. It's really interesting. I've seen a bunch of... Oh my, Aya is also really juicy, but I think we're going to go with the taunt first, to be honest. And yes, we're floating mana now. I understand that. I accept that. I'm willing to live in that world where we float mana this turn to simply get our Jades going. Maybe I think we'll just go Aya this coming turn. Swashbuckler's obviously getting bounced again. The worst thing for us would be a Shadow Step. Okay. Because it could get Shadow Step played again and then prepped out for the quest, and then we would probably lose. But right now we're... I mean, there is a chance that our opponent still finishes their quest right now. There is. You know, no doubt in my mind. But it's a lot lower right now. Oh my goodness. Firefly action. Firefly action. So maybe our opponent's looking to actually complete their quest next turn. So that would be bad. Ooh, Primordial Drake would have been excellent right now if we'd kept that innovate, but that's okay. You know, you can't always get everything in this world. So we'll attack. And now the question is, how do we want to play this? Like, do we just want to go and ramp our Jades like crazy? Or do we want to remove this minion that we're expecting to get turned into a 5/5? And I'm going to say no. We need to start ramping here. And not ramping in the traditional Jade sense. I mean by building our Jades up. Or ramping in the sense of the Druid sense. I mean in terms of ramping our Jades to get them as big as possible. Also, I guess I should mention about the whole Yogg thing. I'm not necessarily going to play only Yogg decks. Oh, that is so sad for us. That is kind of sad for us. This isn't the best result for us. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh. Do we want to just throw out the Auctioneer to scare our opponent? No, I want to get the biggest minions on board right now, because we have to go bigger. Because yeah, the way Hearthstone works, I think this is one of those Hearthstone things where when we're going big, we need to kind of go there before our opponent, so that when our opponent plays stuff, we'll be able to then answer. My goodness. Here's the thing, like, I don't mind this. This is really good for us, right? Okay, so now Crystal Core can't even get prepped out. Oh my. Okay, so now we're gonna have We're going to have a mini miracle. Do we even need to miracle, or are we just going to draw once? Yeah, we're just going to draw once. We'll go 3 here, and then 10 to face. Oh, do we want to cast that? Well, if I hadn't attacked so quickly, we could have innervated and kept going. But that's okay. We have lethal now this turn. This has been a really interesting quest rogue. This is always the way I kind of thought quest rogue was going to go. I think I just mentioned this, right? How all the quests would kind of just build towards the quest slowly, as opposed to racing towards them. Like, I didn't think the deck archetypes would change quite so quickly. Wow, that was almost a milled, quest, which would have been kind of funny. Swipage, and that is super lethal for us right now. And you know what? Our opponent tried to do something creative with Quest Rogue before it went away. Didn't work out. I'm okay with that. Okay, so we have ourselves a little bit of a Quest Warrior on our hands, which could be terrifying. There's no doubt about that. And the cards that we have starting in our starting hand are very anti-Pirate Warrior, so that's also kind of terrifying. But at the very least, we were able to get our Jades off and running nice and early. We got our early Jade Idol for a 1-1. I think the way we win this deck, this matchup against this deck, is by having our opponent go a little bit slow. Obviously, that's always a beneficial thing when your opponent goes a little bit slow. And then I think we need to have our Jades ramped as well as us kind of ramped. So I'd love to hit a Jade Blossom right now. That would be great. Finding Aya would also be kind of nice. We want to get an Aya off really quickly. And then we want to be able to start drawing and shuffling and doing all that fun stuff. Finding a Wrath right now would be pretty good. Jade Blossoms is much better. I'm honestly tempted to coin out the Doomsayer. And the reason behind this is that I don't think our Doomsayer is ever going to do anything in this matchup otherwise. Except, I guess, super late game, and we already have one. And then this allows next turn to be kind of a slow draw, and our opponent probably won't want to drop any of their big taunts. And Taunt Warrior does have a lot of good 4-mana taunts. They have the Gadgetzan Steel, and they have the 2/6 Bloodhoof. So there's lots of good taunts that can get dropped on 4. Obviously, this doesn't exclude them from just being dropped next turn. But at least now this kind of buys us one turn to breathe. Maybe we find something else awesome that we can do. Again, like if we just find Aya, we can slam down an Aya, and all of a sudden we have a 5/3 plus a 3/3 on board, and not a lot of 5-mana taunts are going to be doing much against that. So that's kind of a good thing. Maybe our opponent just weapons up right now and passes. 3 to face is probably negligible. I'm hoping. I really hope it's negligible. Oh, that's kind of terrifying. So I'm going to draw first. Yes, we need to draw because we have no cards. Oh, hello. That's a good one. That's a good one. Also a good one. So we're going to hang on to this spell. So at least we have a Jade for next turn. That's a good thing. And we have our Gadgetzan Auctioneer. So if we get another spell, maybe we would go Auctioneer. Our Quest Warrior friend has actually been going a little bit slowly, but that's okay. And that's one of those taunts, that we expect to be coming down. I don't know that our Doomsayer really did too much to stop it, but that's okay. Jade Blossoms, my goodness. Okay, we're gonna put out some pressure against our opponent's board here. So we have some potentially really big plays coming up here with some Auctioneer, Jade Blossoms, shuffling, that sort of thing. That would be great. Although ideally we would Jade Idol late. Once our deck has already been drawn through a little bit, like you want to kind of like cycle, you want to have a little bit of a miracle with one of the Auctioneers. And then you want to Jade Idol like crazy and shuffling when you only have, let's say, 5, 10 cards, 7-ish cards left, which means we're nowhere near at this point, because that really increases your chance to be drawing one of these other Jade Idols. So you can just kind of infinite cycle with your Auctioneers. Whereas if I shuffle 3 in right now, it's going to be 3 then it'll be 3 out of 20 if I shuffle for next turn, which is okay odds, I guess, in terms of Hearthstone top decking. But I think we want to do a little bit better for ourselves in this situation. And then that also helps us out with our Yogg spell counter. which I do actually have. I have a spell counter up on my screen, so if and when we get to some Yogg action, I will know exactly how many spells to expect. Yeah, that's just kind of terrifying more than anything. I don't really know why that took so long for our opponent, but you know what? They're entitled to it. That's obviously not the best thing in the world for us. How does 2 damage line up? 2 damage lines up really not the best for us. It's a really awkward trade, so I don't want to do that. We do have the option of Auctioneer, Jade Idol. We also have options of Swipage. How does Swipe line up with us right now? Swipe also kind of lines up poorly. But Swipe could enable a Jade Blossom, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And I know I was just talking about how I don't want to shuffle right now, but honestly, I feel like I might. We could Doomsayer. As silly as it seems, I think we could Doomsayer right now. I think that slows our opponent down and then kind of gives us some really good turns coming up after that. Like, let's say we slam down the Doomsayer. We punch through the 1/4. Everyone's going to have to spend a lot of removal to get rid of the Doomsayer. And now our Jades are kind of nice and juicy. And we'll just use face here. That's okay. We took a little bit of time on that turn, but I think overall that's okay. Like, let's say our opponent does use a lot of resources to get rid of the Doomsayer. That's an okay thing for us. I think we're going to want to... Yeah. I didn't want it. Just the way the minions traded right there was awkward. Attacking in. Let's see what happens now. Is it going to be AoE execute time on the Doomsayer? Maybe. But if that would be a lot of our opponent's resources this turn, and if that's the case, well then maybe, you know, we're able to easily like trade in, you know, kind of trade up with the 3-drop, you know, the 3/3 trading into the 6-drop. That's nice. Shield Slam. Oh, just regular slam. That's okay as well. Slam into execute, it looks like. Slam into execute. I mean, hopefully our opponent doesn't get to play another taunt. That would be nice for us. Hopefully our opponent does not play another taunt and we top deck, let's say, Wild Growth. That would be the best. War Axe, yeah, that's unfortunate for us. Okay, that's fine. Top deck Wild Growth and then all is forgiven. Wrath is also pretty good. I got the best deals anywhere. I would love to play a 5/5 right now, but we really, really can't. We do have to shuffle because I think this is how we're going to win. Oh, wow. I think we are going to play... Get some draw going. We'll summon another one. And I think that's going to be enough cycling for right now. Just because I think there's too many cards in here that are not spells, so we don't want to just like innovate just to hero power. I don't think when we don't want to do that when we have an auctioneer, I should say. You know, sometimes I think that is a reasonable play, but for right now, I don't think we want to be doing that. And then next turn we could go auctioneer, innovate, nourish, and hope to find another one of those Jade Idols. Yeah, this is kind of a bad thing for us, but at the same time, we're able to trade in. Oh, Earthen Scales. That's a cheap spell, so I think we're going to probably be going that way. I think we just do want to cycle here a little bit, and I know maybe this is kind of too much. Feral Rage, that's okay. But I think we'll be able to kind of get our draw going here to really help burn through. And maybe this was the wrong play, to be honest. Maybe we should have waited a little bit. But I think this is going to hopefully be able to put on a lot of pressure. And now we have a whole lot of resources in hand as well. So if our opponent doesn't have removal for Gadget Stand, we win. And if they do, we still have big minions coming out that will eventually actually, and when I say eventually, I mean very shortly, be getting too big for our opponent's fire-plumed completed Sulphur-Ass quest, which is kind of cool. Then if things do get out of hand, we are actually at 13 spells right now for Yogg. Which is, maybe I should get a counter up on the screen as well, actually, if people want to follow along. 6 is an awkward health total, but if our opponent doesn't remove Gadget Stand, it's just bad news. Primordial Drake is probably not as good as other things, and now the question is, though, how much can we actually be drawing? So I guess we're going to go and do this first. for a quick draw. Ay, ay, ay. We're gonna go with a little bit of that action. How the heck are we gonna do this and actually play out our cards? I don't know right now. That's a great question. We need to continue to play Jades. This gets attacked. This stays healthy. This goes face. I think we're gonna go Jade. I think we're gonna innovate just to cycle through here. Hey, there's a Yogg. Okay, so now we got Yogg. We've got a whole whack of resources here. We're down to 6 cards, and there's 2 more Jade Idols in our deck, which is pretty nice. And we will then hopefully be able to do a little Jade Idol Fandral combos at this point. And the issue is, you know, and I think I talk about this a lot in my Dragon Priest games, where what we're trying to do here really is we put a pressure on the Quest Warrior early so that they are less inclined to switch to Sulfuras, because then they don't have the hero power to kind of get them out of range of, you know, of us actually just trying to kill them, which is, you know, it is actually the point of Hearthstone. And the menagerie is, of course, for guests only. I don't think we're going to have lethal. Obviously, we would want to Yogg here, but we're not going to. Sorry, everyone. We're going to go 3 plus a 4. Punch through this way. What do we want to do? Then we want to go on to this. And we'll punch in here. We'll play this, and then we will summon a 7/7. And I think this should probably be enough now. I think our last card is exactly a Jade Idol. So we will be able to infinite summon and draw next turn. If Auctioneer doesn't die. Which means we win, just so we're clear. Because our opponent will not have enough removal. Doesn't matter. I mean, you know, obviously our opponent has to do it, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day fully. Okay, and so like I said, we're just going to do this Fandral kind of infinite action here, and I guess we will oh no, we need to actually worry about killing our opponent now, don't we? So how do we do this? Do we just wait? I think we just wait a turn. And yes, I understand we could have swiped face there, but we wouldn't have gotten through the Direhorn Matriarch here, the 6/9. I didn't actually know what it was called. I did actually mouse over there. And now we have the infinite Jade Idols, where all we're drawing is 9/9s, 10/10s, 11/11s. I don't think there's any way that we can possibly lose this. Obviously, there are ways that'll make things much more challenging for us. But, ooh, that's a really, really gutsy play by our opponent, and I love it. Wow. You cannot attack in with that. Oh. So our opponent just gave us lethal, which is fine. We will take it, because every once in a while on the ladder, you are supposed to just get lethal. And I know, Yogg and all that, but we want lethal a little bit more than we want hilarious Yogg things. As much as I want hilarious Yogg things, and that is going to be kind of the point, the aim of this season, to have a little bit of silliness happen on the ladder, as opposed to just purely curving out every game. I still think we are going to be pushing for lethal, and maybe sometimes I'll have a little fun with Yogg there every once in a while, but not this game. That's going to be it for this video, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of fun to play this deck and kind of this anti-aggro variant that I have going on here. If you haven't already, might as well hit that subscribe button right over where Warsong Commander is or below. I try to post every day. Thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Keep your stick on the ice.